I thought my camera had finally died. The lens thing wouldn't come back out. But like I said, this is probably going to wind up being the last video on this camera. I had to do it manually and get stuck with it. And I told you this has already fallen off. Okay. I think this is going to be it, people, for this camera. We've had a long, bumpy road together. This camera was it wasn't the catalyst to my foray into YouTube, because remember when I first did YouTube, if you go to my Alicia Roll 1 channel, my very first videos are Alicia Roll discusses her life and childhood. At least there's 5 of them. We should talk. I'm 232 pounds in these videos, and on one of them I'm holding Omar in my lap. I sing and I dance a little bit, and I, recite my songs and poetry and whatever, the 9 yards. But those I didn't do on a camera. The catalyst, to my foray into YouTube was, Donald's help. Foray. I like that word. I believe I'm using it in the right context. What started my foray into YouTube? YouTube came about and I wanted to make a video, and Donald helped me. We set up a webcam. He had a webcam already. We had webcam from when he was watching me on Alicia's World. He created his own channel. Webcam. But with the webcam, you have to sit right in front of the computer, or stand or be within that distance. Whereas a camera I can take anywhere, and like I said, with a little thing called a camera memory uploader, or whatever you call it, I could create videos out in public. Even when I'm living in a goddamn fucking homeless shelter, I can create videos. As you've seen, I created them in public bathrooms, in parks, In LA, I did that just because I needed privacy. Remember, Donald didn't work. He was home most of the time. Very rare for Donald to not be home. I even created videos when he was upstairs sleeping, but that was, I created them out on the patio there when he was sleeping, but taking huge risks there, So, but this camera was like my real, because I only created it just with the webcam, just those 5 videos. And then I learned how to do it with a camera. I'm sure I learned it on my own, although it wasn't difficult. I think when I first started YouTube in 2007, I didn't even know you could probably do it with a camera memory or whatnot, We did it with a webcam anyway, Donald. I had no idea what I was doing. Donald was the reason I was even able to venture into YouTube. Like I said, I'm smart. I can figure shit out. I figured out on my own how to create videos where you use pictures and then you have a slideshow video. I can study stuff and learn how to do it. And even though I see the dangers of it, I truly love this whole thing with the internet, and you know what I mean? I would never pretend otherwise. I love it. I love that you can communicate with people halfway across the world. You know what I mean? Across the world, a million miles. I mean, and I love the friggin' internet. I love it. I love all the technical things, you know. Donald taught me stuff on the computer, and I taught myself too, just by Googling how to do stuff or whatnot. And I've had problems with different things. Fun. Fun, fun, fun. I learned how to use the movie maker so I can do videos sideways and then rotate them. I know how to use a video downloader so I can get my videos and because this camera, if you try to create a video, you have to rotate it. It won't, you know what I mean? You have to rotate it. You can't. But I can rotate. I can first put the video sideways on YouTube and then get it with the video downloader. And then use the movie maker to rotate it. See all these technical things? Somebody who knows all about computers wouldn't be impressed with my limited technical abilities when it comes to my YouTube enterprise or whatnot. But someone who doesn't know shit about the computer would be impressed with it all, you know? It's limited compared to people like Donald who know everything, but, you know, I mean, he created my friggin' website. I couldn't create a website. An original website. The gun was still to my head, but according to Joe, their website starter kits or something. Website for dummies and whatnot, and you can, for $200, $150, you can, they do most of the work. You just plug stuff in. Apparently he's done that. He probably could, if he wanted to spend a long time, he could make a website from scratch, like Donald did, but, you know, Joe works full time at a good job, and he doesn't, you know, and he does his music and his part time, and, you know, then takes care of all the shit you have to take care of when you have a house and whatnot, and makes his healthy meals, and even making homemade meals, you know, takes a long time. It took us hours when we were making that soup, and I was helping too. But the end result is really good. Plus, he's one person, so he makes a big batch of something and it lasts. You know what I mean? It's not like on him one night. And he exercises, so he does a lot. This might be the last video I get to create on this camera. I didn't think the lens part was going to come out. It was saying lens error and it wasn't going to poke out. But I got it to somehow. This is the call, Joe. I'm still tired. Always tired. I think I'll get dressed. See, my mom wants to take Omar for walking. Maybe I'll go poo-poo. You're like an old friend, camera, as I sit here and stare at you when you're missing your lens cover. Time to put you out of your misery, I think. See, this fell off. This doesn't even tell you what the name of my camera is, but it says C713. cameras. Oh, you've served me well, camera. You guys don't know how much this camera has been through. It served me well, even when I was living on the fucking streets with Omar. I didn't have the camera right away. I sneaked over to my storage unit, not to get the camera, although I did get the camera. I needed warmer clothes. Even though it was LA, it was unseasonably cold out at night. And when I'd taken off, I was wearing little tiny shorts and little tiny top. I certainly wouldn't have done that if I'd known I was going to wind up sitting in a hostile environment all night. The police station, where I was freezing, and the guy, was hostile towards me. He was a total fucking prick. And for the record, he was African American and probably my age, a little older, I don't know. He's a fucking prick, though. Poma wasn't in a carry, he was on a leash, and he's protective, and he was growling, and in the end I told you that asshole. I had held on to Omar for dear life. I was terrified all night. I was freezing. No one ever even offered me a blanket. And then to add insult to injury, I got my period, and had to tell a guy. He didn't believe me. He's like, oh, just another thing. It just... And then I had been sitting there 15 hours holding on to Omar for dear life. I knew if I fell, I couldn't risk it. He'd be dead. They were so hostile. People came in there. They were hostile towards him because he was growling. And in the end, that guy leaves. And actually, he says to me, you know, better hold on to that dog. If he comes near me, I'll shoot him. And that was really uncalled for because he could see. He was on the overnight shift. He saw how he'd been awake for 15 fucking hours. I mean, I hadn't slept, but obviously I'd been awake longer than that because I'd been awake from the prior night, you know what I mean? So, I mean, from the whole day. And that was so uncalled for, so cruel. I was just holding on to Omar for dear life. I was clearly terrified. They weren't able to find us a place to go safely. But remember, I never would have showed up there in the first place. The only reason I did is because I was under the false impression that I mattered because I had just filed a domestic violence, a criminal charge against Donald, It's the only reason I showed up at that stupid police station. I wouldn't have shown up there otherwise. I wanted to know what was going on with the case. I wanted to know if they don't know. It hadn't even been filed yet, and they didn't even have me on record, They didn't even have me down on record. And then I find out, sometimes it takes a few days to file. I didn't have the police report. I had my license. They didn't care about that. They didn't care a fuck. later, because I was under so much trauma living on the streets, one night I apparently lost my license, and it got mailed back to Donald and Hope's house, and that's when Donald later, after it was, was trying to bribe me, and that was a dumb thing for him to do because he had a temporary restraining order against him, and he was forbidden to contact me. It didn't go both ways. I could contact him, and I did, and I taunted him. I said all kinds of crap, and he just wrote back, I'll give you $300 and your license. I later showed that to the judge, and that helped me get the year restraining order against Donald. And I didn't really feel like he was gonna, I was unsafe from him per se, but that doesn't matter. I told you, in that emergency domestic violence shelter, they want everybody, all women who go in there, to try to get, it's a cleansing process. To go through the process of getting a restraining order against your abuser. It doesn't mean you're gonna get it. When I got the month one, she's like, wow, I'm impressed with a lot of people. I said, oh, I thought it's a lot of people. No, she's like, a lot of people are turned down. And then when I later got the years, the judge didn't like Donald. Donald showed up all disheveled. He looked like he'd been drinking the whole night before. When his mom drove him, he looked horrible. That is one fucked up, lonely, self-hating man, but he takes it out on other people, including his mother. I learned from his mom. Remember, he's an only child like me. We're 10 days apart in age. But unlike me, I mean, he didn't grow up with a father, but apparently he was just this sweet little polite boy, and Hope told me, like, everyone just thought he was adorable, and they spoiled him and gave him what they wanted, and, so that's probably why he grew up into an adult who just, spoiled and wanted what he wanted. And then he's really smart, and he majored in philosophy and minored, I guess, in literature in college, and I had majored in English and minored in philosophy, so there were all these things that made me think he was my soulmate, and him being my soulmate couldn't have been farther from the truth, I mean, seriously, couldn't have been farther. They say love is blind for a reason, but I wasn't in love with Donald, and I've never been in love. I don't even know. I told you I'm a misfit freak. I wasn't in love with Joe either. I loved Joe. But in love is a foreign concept to me. And again, a lot of people claim to be in love and cheat on their spouses left and right, or cheat on their mates left and right, and whatnot, Donald, it was sheer fucking infatuation and lust. Today marks the day, March 22nd, 2015. This camera's been through hell and back, just like I have over these past several years. Few is 3 or 4, so several is, I guess, 5 to 7 or something. So it's these past several years, We've had a long and bumpy road, long and bumpy ride, camera. And you've taken a licking and kept on ticking. I mean, you've been dropped more than once. You've almost, obviously, if it had ever gone into the toilet, it would not be here right now. But I mean, it's almost fallen into the toilet. It's been dropped more than once. Remember, now this thing has completely fallen off, but it had already broken from the last time I dropped the camera at the library, you know. That's why you saw those videos when I couldn't figure out I could do it manually, lift it up. That's why it finally fell off from manually doing it. But I hated those videos with the black. And they were half, you can only see half of my face and whatnot. So I figured out how to manually lift that up, but you manually lift up a very delicate camera lens only for so long. But I've even been doing that for months, you know what I mean? So. This camera has served me well. And you know I'll be buying a new camera because this is my addiction, doing YouTube. I'm not going to buy a super expensive camera. I'll study and I'll look into the best bargain I can get, you know, for like 150 or under, you know. They had them at Best Buy last time. I just didn't buy one. I'm getting every last drop out of this camera. My baby. I had it the entire time I was in the shelter. It was 6.5 months. And then when I went back to the shelter, you're not allowed to have a camera, of course. I had to lock it up, you know. And it stands to reason you can't have cell phones and cameras and all that. One time a woman snuck she had her cell phone and she was filming some women in there, and you know, they didn't take too kindly to that and they reported her. People want the privacy too, you know, living in a homeless shelter, you don't want to announce it to the world or whatnot. I'm supposed to call Joe around 3. I think I'll get dressed and we'll take Homer for a walkie walk. My mom returned Whiplash for me, so that's good. I got all those videos, I mean, the DVDs that I told you guys about in one of my videos I created after, you know, and I renewed all the videos I got from the library. I haven't watched them. I only watched some of them. I don't know why. Couldn't really get into some of them. I don't know. I guess I didn't try either. I thought I wanted to see Godzilla, and then I started watching the beginning, and I don't think I want to watch Godzilla. Can she bake a cherry pie? When I went online to renew my videos, they had it down. I'm like, what the hell is that? I didn't get that out. Can you bake a cake? And that's like a old time from the 50s or some stupid thing. And I'm like, why does my video say that? That's obviously how it's scanned, but that's not what it is. It's can you bake a cherry pie? And it's just, I watched half of that night, and it's too weird for me. I don't know. obviously I haven't felt compelled to go back and watch the rest of it, you know. I have the free ones, and I've still been renting from Redbox because they were ones I really wanted to see, you know. And the free ones weren't ones planned. They were me just going up and down the aisles of the library. So I think one of the things I might want to do is, which I've done before, is Google like best movies of, say, 2000, best movie. I've done this before, best movies 2001, best movies 2002, and then you get the best of the creme de la creme of the movies for that year, and find out what the best pictures were, you know, not just the one that won, but the contenders, and you know what I mean? So that will tell me, and chances are, even if one library doesn't have it, they can order, they can even do interlibrary loans, you know, where it's not even in their network, so chances are I could get movies, videos movies I never saw, you know. I just have to research it and then know exactly what I want to find or put on hold, or, you know. That might be something I look into doing at some point, you know. Doesn't matter how much you sleep, though, if you're severely depressed or whatnot, or anxious, whole 9 yards. But I told you I am continuously. But I will never take psych meds, and no one's gonna convince me to do otherwise, you know, so. I have to deal with this shit, or not, as the case may be, on my own, you know what I mean? I have to. Find some way. I am not of the mentality to take psych meds, period. So. And truth be told, I hate the whole idea of psych meds, because, as I told you, it's like every fucking thing in the universe now is a disease requiring psych meds, a mental disease, you know, any little quirk, any whatever, everything's a freaking mental illness, you know. They have a new one now. If you're too focused on eating healthy foods, you have a mental illness. It begins with O, I think. You know, every fucking thing now is a mental illness. And they brush aside the dangers, you know. They try to pretend that these psych meds are, you know. My favorite is, and it says right on the thing, that they admit, you know, they only help like 30% of the people who take them, and you can't find out right away if it helps you, so you take it diligently, this particular medication, for 6 months, and then you're out of luck because you're one of the, you know what I mean, that it doesn't help. That's what got me when I was studying it more carefully. I'm like, oh my god, the success rate is what, 30%? Well, what about the 70% who diligently take the medication and it doesn't do a damn thing for those people? I mean, you know, it's like, It's such a pseudoscience. It really is. It's such a pseudoscience. They have no idea what, what it's just such a pseudoscience. I love John Rappaport. He tells it like it is. Like, Told You the Christian Woman's by Peter Bregan. And Peter Bregan, I guess, is a psychiatrist, but he went the route of, there's just too many psych meds being prescribed. You know what I mean? I'm sure they help in certain instances and people have to take them, but they go overboard, and that's why Peter Bregan, B-R-E-G-G-I-N, wrote a book called Toxic Psychiatry. And Christian Woman's reading it, and she's like, you can order it from the library, that's where I got it. And she's like, you'll feel vindicated, Laura. Yeah, I feel vindicated, and I'll be, even more terrified than I already am. You gotta read this book. You gotta read it. Alright. I'd rather finish reading my 50 Shades of Freed. She's right, though. I should read it. I'm sure it's going to upset me, but you know what? Considering it's so close to home and has been so close to home nearly my entire life, I should read the damn book. In case any of you want to read it, it's by Peter Bregan, B-R-E-G-G-I-N, and it's called Toxic Psychiatry. You are on your last legs, camera. This may very well be my last video on this camera. It's weird to me. I thought maybe the last video was because I couldn't get this to open up. There's a little button on the top, obviously, on any camera. It makes the lens pop out, that whole round thing. Well, because it's missing that part now and it's little... whatever, it got stuck. It was saying lens error, and I thought, oh shit, I stopped when I had the video because my mom got a phone call, and I was able to get it to pop back out. And that doesn't mean the next time I want to create a video it's going to pop back out, you know what I mean? So. Bye-bye, camera. It's been a long and bumpy ride, but I'm still here. Bye, camera. It's been a long and bumpy ride, but I'm still here while you're on your sadly on your